All right, Jeb, this is from last week. I want you to check out what you're doing. Like we talked about, I want you to look at your front foot right there. It's perfect. And that's what, it's what you've been working on, and you're going to have to keep working on making sure you're using your feet properly, because when you start building something, you need to start from the ground up, and you're trying to get your legs to do exactly what they need to do. And it starts from when you're getting loose. When you get loose and start throwing with your pal or your dad or your brother or whoever you throw with, you're going to have to start focusing on making sure you're stepping directly to where you're throwing. And then you have to kind of put it into practice with motor skills that are similar to what you're going to do during the game, like you're doing right now. You're catching, and then you got to take and do the same thing. Now look at where your toes pointing now. And that's how reality is. The other, as you're warming up, is not really reality of how you're going to make a play behind the plate. Unfortunately, it's going to deter. It's going to either help you or hurt you. What you're able to do. And what I'm trying to do is just make sure that your motor skills are correct. And it's going to be very hard if you keep stepping towards first base. That's exactly why when you catch, your throw to first base is quick. It's probably more accurate. It's because your feet are going in the right direction. And it's going to help you have less arm trouble too. So, after we looked at the video the first time, you started making those corrections. And that's what it's going to take. You're going to have to do it every time. And, you can't really take for granted right now that you're going to do it correctly. So you have to be the one that corrects yourself. When you feel yourself and when you play the game, you got to remember that toe. And see, we started changing the subject and talking about other things, and then, you have to just keep on. There's no rest when you're working on something. Okay, in practice, you got to focus on it. Now, I want to talk to you about hitting. The term throwing the hoop. I want you to remember that term. And your arms create a hoop when you swing, from your shoulders to your hands, and you don't want to throw the hoop, okay? And what happens is when your bottom elbow drops and comes perpendicular to your top elbow when you make contact, then you're in a lesser powerful position. You want your elbows to be as, see how that's called throwing the hoop right there. When you have that bottom elbow come that far. I'm going to show you an example of a guy that does it correctly. And his elbows won't be quite that angle. They're not going to be perfectly parallel to the ground, but they're going to be more so than that, okay? I want to show you a still photo right here. And that's the difference right there. You are in the same position. Your elbows are in different places, and that's called throwing the hoop. I want you to work on that. Do a bunch of swings at home, and I'll see you at the next workout.